Hello, I'm Beth Joey and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome, welcome. This is a channel where I paint my face, turn my camera on and talk about some books. It's the beginning of April, which means it is time for another round of my TBR game, which is TBR Carnival. If you've never been here before, every single month I play a TBR Carnival game. It changes every month in order to pick out the books that I want to read for the following month, because let's be honest, if I didn't set myself a TBR, I would be so lost on what to read next. This month, however, is a little bit different because I'm going into this game with a sort of set TBR that I want to create through this game, because I'm participating in Magical Readathon and Realmathon, which are two month-long readathons hosted throughout the month of April. Magical Readathon is hosted by G over at Book Roast. It is a very immersive, very intense, complicated, so amazingly world-built readathon hosted by G. And then we've got Realmathon, which is equally amazing, equally incredibly well built with lore and the world and everything. And it's also the second iteration of the first ever readathon that got me into like booktube and readathons and all that sort of thing. I've set my TBR for both of these readathons in a previous video, and this is the TBR for them. So we've got Not a Happy Family by Shari Lapina, Only a Monster by Vanessa Len, The Book Eaters by Sun Yi Dean, Gallant by V.E. Schwab, and Good Girl Complex by Elle Kennedy. So I'm kind of aiming to get these 5 books onto this TBR this month so that I don't have tons and tons to read. In case you're wondering, the TBR game that we are just about to be playing is called, I call it Knock 'em Down, I think other people call it Knockdown, but it's where you set up 10 cans and you've got these little pouch things filled with rice, and you chuck the pouch thing filled with rice at the cans and you try to knock them down. The rules for this game for me are the number of cans that I knock down correspond to a particular prompt. So if I knock down 1 can, I have to find a book with a source of light on the cover. 2 cans is a book from an author I love. 3 cans is multi-POV. 4 cans is a book that's out of my comfort zone. 5 cans is a book with the sort of dysfunctional family. 6 cans is a 2022 release. 7 cans is an author debut. 8 cans is a book with a monster on the cover. 9 cans is a book with an emotion in the title. And 10 cans is a book that plays with time. Now the rules here are pretty simple. Just knock down the cans and pick a book that relates to the prompt. But if I throw and completely miss, I have to add a throw. And if I knock down the same number of cans twice in a row, then I have to add another throw. So let's get to our first throw. First throw, 3 cans, book that is multi-POV. I have picked one off of my Realmathon TBR, and I think it's on my Magical Readathon one as well, I'm not sure, and that is Good Girl Complex by Elle Kennedy. I have recently gotten into a massive Elle Kennedy kick lately because I read the Off-Campus series, like binged it basically, loved it so much, so I'm keen to get into another one of her series. I believe this is like Avalon Bay or something series, but as for what this is about, it says Mackenzie Mac Cabot is a people pleaser. It's exhausting really, always following the rules. Mac has dreams of her own, but to please her parents she moves to the beachside town of Avalon Bay to get her college degree. 20-year-old Mac has had plenty of practice suppressing her wilder impulses, but when she meets local bad boy Cooper Hartley, that ability is suddenly tested. Cooper is rough around the edges, raw, candid, a threat to her ordered existence. Their friendship soon becomes the realest thing in her life. Despite his disdain for the trust fund kids he sees coming and going from his town, Cooper soon realizes Mac isn't just another rich clone and falls for her, hard. But as Mac finally starts feeling accepted by Cooper and his friends, the secret he's been keeping from her threatens the only place she's ever felt at home. So I'm super, super keen for this one. I love Elle Kennedy's romances. I think they're so much fun, super angsty and just smutty and great. So this is going to be the first book. Now let's do throw number 2. Throw number 2, 5 cans, which means a book with a dysfunctional family in it. And again, I'm able to get something from my Realmathon and Magical Readathon TBRs into this one with Not a Happy Family by Shari Lapina, which is an absolute TBR vet, and it is sort of like a murder mystery surrounding this one family where they think the kids might have committed the murder. So that is definitely dysfunctional. As for what it is actually about, let's read the blurb, and it says, in this family, everyone is keeping secrets, even the dead. In the quiet, wealthy enclave of Brecken Hill, an older couple is brutally murdered hours after a tense Easter dinner with their 3 adult children, who, of course, are devastated. Or are they? They each stand to inherit millions. They were never a happy family, thanks to their vindictive father and neglectful mother. But perhaps one of them is more disturbed than anyone knew. Did someone snap after that dreadful evening? Or did another person appear later that night with the worst of intentions? That must be what happened. After all, if one of the family were capable of something as gruesome as this, you'd know. wouldn't you? Which I just love the sort of hypothetical posing the question at the end of the blurb. It is completely enthralling and it completely has me wanting to pick up this book immediately. So this is book number 2. Let's go into throw number 3. Okay, so we knocked down 3 cans again, but it wasn't twice in a row, so we're okay. Don't have to add another throw, but another multi-POV book, so I thought may as well add the second Elle Kennedy book in the Avalon Bay series, Bad Girl Reputation. I'm really hoping that I like the first book, because if I don't, this is going to be a bit of a slog of a read. But as for what this is about, it says, when former bad girl Genevieve returns home for her mother's funeral, she's prepared to keep her distance from her ex-boyfriend Evan. Their history is rife with turbulence and passion, a heck of a lot of passion, which she's trying desperately to forget. But it's impossible not to bump into Evan in the small coastal town where they once ran wild, and the moment she sees him again, it's clear that Evan is still as unruly, sexy, and irresistible as ever. This time around, however, she's resolved to walk a new path. No more partying, no more foolish mistakes. Evan has other ideas. He knows they can be good together. He just has to convince Genevieve of that, even if it means turning over a new leaf himself. But can a bad reputation ever truly be shed? Do second chances really work? Genevieve and Evan are about to find out. Ooh, so it's like a second chance romance. I love that. I love second chance romances because they're so much more angsty and tension filled, because there's always something that made the romance sort of fall apart in the first place. So this is going to be book number 3, so let's go to throw number 4. Okay, I'm beginning to think these cans are rigged because I just knocked down 5 again. I mean, it wasn't 2 in a row, so I don't have to add a throw, but I'm going 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5. So let's pick the book for this, which is going to be another Dysfunctional Family prompt. And the book that I've picked is Gallant by V.E. Schwab. I think based on what I've heard from other people talking about this, there is a somewhat dysfunctional family element involved in this, but let's find out what it's actually about. And it says, 16-year-old Olivia Pryor is missing 3 things: a mother, a father, and a voice. Her mother vanished all at once, her father by degrees, and her voice was a thing she never had to start with. Her only companions are the ghouls she sees and her mother's journal, which captured a mind in turmoil. Near the end of her time at Maryland School for Girls, Olivia receives a letter from an uncle she's never met, summoning her to his estate, Gallant. But when she arrives, she discovers that the letter was years late. Her uncle is dead and the estate is empty, save for her cousin Matthew and the servants. Olivia is permitted to remain, but must follow 2 rules. Don't go out after dusk and always stay on the right side of the crumbling wall. But Gallant is a house of secrets, a house sitting in lonely vigil, a place where the ghouls are powerful. As Olivia searches for answers about her family, her past, she discovers a dark reflection of everything she knew, an ancient realm where ghosts take form and the Dark Master sits waiting for her. So yeah, that sounds kind of like a dysfunctional family situation. Super keen for this one. I know it was massively hyped up when it first came out, but since then there's been pretty mixed reviews, so I guess we'll find out what I think. But I think there's like mixed media elements in this as well, which everybody knows, love some mixed media. Feels like it breaks up the read beautifully. So yeah, this is going to be book number 4. So far I've done a pretty good job of getting the things on my like readathon TBRs onto this, so let's hope that keeps going. But let's go to throw number 5. We were doing so well without getting a repeat, but now we've got a repeat. So I hit down 5 again, which means another dysfunctional family, or a book with a dysfunctional family in it, and I'm gonna have to add a throw, so it's gonna be 6 total throws. But as for the book that I've picked, I've always kind of been wanting to reread this book so that I can finish off the rest of the series, and that book is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I think I read this book in Realmathon last year, so it kind of is perfect, like serendipitous timing that I'll read it again in Realmathon this year, but hopefully this time I'll continue with the rest of the series. As for what it's about, I don't remember a lot, so I am going to read you the blurb, and it says, of course I want to be like them. They're beautiful as blades forged in some divine fire, and Carden is even more beautiful than the rest. I hate him so much that sometimes when I look at him, I can hardly breathe. One terrible morning, Jude and her sisters see their parents murdered. The fearsome assassin abducts all 3 girls to the fairy court, where Jude soon realizes that to survive, she needs to be as cunning and deceitful as the Fae themselves. But the stairway to power is fraught with shadows and betrayal, and looming over all is the arrogant and charismatic Prince Carden. I know for a fact that Prince Carden's family is very dysfunctional based on what happens at the end of this book, and then I think Jude's family as well, after she was sort of kidnapped by the person that murdered her parents. That person that kidnapped her and her sisters kind of like created a little family, and that is definitely dysfunctional. So this is going to be book number 5, but we've got one more throw. So let's go to throw number 6. We finally got a different number. Perfect. We knocked down 8 this time. Went from 5 and 3 to 8. Hey, 5 plus 3 is 8. Wow, that is, okay, never mind. But the prompt for this one is a book with a monster on the cover. So I've taken this down like 2 routes. So it is very literally, there is a monster on the cover of this book, but then also the word monster is on the cover of this book, and that is Only a Monster by Vanessa Len. So here's our little monster being, and then obviously the word monster. This book again on my Realmathon and Magical Readathon TBR, so really excited that I can get it onto this one too. But as for what it's about, it says, in every story there is a hero and a monster. It should have been the perfect summer. Sent to stay with her late mother's eccentric family in London, 16-year-old Joan is determined to enjoy herself. She loves her nerdy job at the historic Holland house, and when her super cute co-worker Nick asks her on a date, it feels like everything is falling into place. Then, a Good Samaritan attempt gone wrong sends Joan spinning through time, and her life quickly begins to unravel. Her family aren't just eccentric, they're monsters, with terrifying hidden powers. And Nick isn't just a cute boy, he's a legendary monster slayer, who will do anything to bring them down. As she battles Nick, Joan is forced to work with the beautiful and ruthless Aaron Oliver, heir to a monster family that hates her own. She'll have to embrace her own monstrousness if she is to save herself and her family, because in this story, she is not the hero. This is a YA fantasy, but it's a fantasy romance, and I think it's going to be like a love triangle situation, which I'm super keen for. So yeah, this is going to be the last book on this TBR. So the only book on my sort of readathon TBR that didn't get onto this TBR is going to be The Book Eaters by Sunyi Dean, but I am definitely still keen to pick this one up. But let's go through what my actual TBR results were at the end of this video. And this is the TBR that we're looking at. So we've got Only a Monster by Vanessa Len, which was a book with a monster on the cover. We've got Not a Happy Family by Shari Lapina, which was Dysfunctional Family, V.E. Schwab, Gallant, which was again Dysfunctional Family, Good Girl Complex by Elle Kennedy was multi-POV, same for Bad Girl Reputation by Elle Kennedy, multi-POV, and The Cruel Prince by Holly Black was Dysfunctional Family. So this is going to be the TBR for April. Luckily, it very much matches up with my readathon TBR, so let's get started in the month of April and have an amazing month, and I hope everybody does as well, and I hope you join the readathons too, because they're going to be super fun. If you are in Realmathon, be Team Cyrus, because it is the best team, obviously, so you have to come join us in Team Cyrus. And if you're a Magical Readathon, I hope you enjoy the alchemy path that we're going down. I hope you enjoy all the little quests that are coming, and you just have an amazing April all round. So that is the end of this video. Let me know in the comments down below what you're planning to read this April, and if you are planning to join these TBRs, or just let me know what you're reading at the moment, loving it, hating it, all that kind of thing. I love talking to you guys, and I do my best to reply to every single comment. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do let me know by liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell all down below. It's a super easy way to help my channel grow, and I will see you lovely people in my next video. Bye!